Hi everyone, I'm Theresa V, and this is the place to be if you're a spiritual sensitive or an empath who wants to feel more alive and on purpose in this world that you love. Each month, I check in with our beloved archangels to see what advice they have for us so that we can most successfully navigate the energies of the coming month. This month, they're talking about self-care and our changing purpose. Stay tuned. Our angels have been telling us for a while now that our self-care game needs to be on point. And there are many reasons for that. Things will be moving faster. There are things that have felt like they were stopped for a very long time that will begin moving again and picking up the pace. They're also saying that the communication and the messages we'll be receiving will be with a greater frequency. And they want us to be as clear as possible so that we can receive those messages, those inspirations, moment to moment. Remember, we truly are in a moment-to-moment paradigm, and what is needed and how we're needed to show up changes from one moment to the next. And because so many of us open ourselves to be channels of grace and of light, we will be placed exactly where we're needed. We'll be guided to exactly what we need to be doing. But the angels at the same time have been telling us that we can no longer do this from a place of deficit. We can no longer be called on to step forward and be the light if we are not taking care of ourselves. In order to show up for the world at this point, it requires that our tank be full, or at least near full. We have to continuously be feeding ourselves, be nourishing ourselves in many, many ways, so that we can be ready and strong enough to be the vessels of whatever it is that is necessary when we are asked to step forward. For a long time, many of us functioned by giving everything we had to other people, and we would have less than nothing left for ourselves. And we'd wake up the next day and do it all over again. And the angels are saying, nope, not happening anymore. If you get to that point, we're not going to call on you. You're not going to be able to be that channel of grace that you were before. You need to take care of you first. The spiritual energy that is needed in this world is no longer one of lack and limitation. We need to show up through the energy of there is enough. There is enough for us, there is enough for me, there is enough for you, and to start embodying that energy of, hey, guess what? If you're going to show up for other people, it's still okay to take care of yourself. And the angels also want us to examine, what does it mean to take care of yourself in your own life? They show us that so many of us have these beautiful rituals and routines that we do every day, our self-care routine, our spiritual routine, our practices, and those are beautiful, beautiful things. And they want us to really begin to listen in to ourselves, listen in to what the body, the mind, and the spirit truly need, because our practices, those things that we do every day, build up this storehouse of energy. But they also want us to be able to hear if maybe one day when we wake up, our body is asking us, please, not today. I just can't do the morning cardio or the 20-minute meditation practice. I just can't do it today. I need to rest. I need to zone out. So many of us override those messages because we then go back to our mind and we say, no, this practice is good for you. You should be doing this, when our body is telling us, I need to rest. I just don't have the energy. I don't have the stamina. It's about coming to terms with bringing those things together. Really, truly listening to those messages from our bodies and our systems. It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. Because that gives us exactly what we need. Those messages tell us exactly what we need to show up in the best way possible that particular day. Maybe later on in the day, your body does want to do that practice, but maybe it's just not at the time you normally do it. There needs to be give and take with these things. We can't be so rigid anymore, because when we do that, we're functioning from the mind and we're no longer in a mentally led paradigm. We are holding the energy. We are blazing the trail for this heart-led paradigm, for this spirit-led paradigm. And in order to be the way showers of that, we have to be living that ourselves. We have to be able to incorporate these things into our own lives. Do the angels expect us to be perfect? No, they don't. But they're asking us to begin to loosen our grip on what we feel we should be doing, what we feel we need to be doing, and start listening to the messages that are coming from inside of us. And when we can get those down, when we can trust what our body is saying, we can then flower into beings who hear and are able to interpret and are able to act on the messages that are coming from our divine team in an even greater way, in an even more effective way, because our bodies will have been taken care of the way that they need to be taken care of. We're also dealing with a lot of things our physical bodies have never seen before in our lifetime. And so as we navigate the world as it is now, when we can hear those signs before the body gets very loud and we can navigate and take care of those things, our body will not have to break down to the same degree, because we're listening and we're addressing things that it's telling us when they're small. So just as a quick example, maybe you were at a gathering and somebody there had a cold, and you wake up and you're feeling a little bit low energy and have a little bit of a headache. You say, oh, you know what? My body feels like it just wants to rest, but I should do my yoga practice and I should do a little bit of cardio because that's what will keep my body strong. But your body is telling you, I feel tired. I feel like I need to rest. And this is where we need to create the space for those messages from the body and follow the body's lead, so that if we listen, maybe the next day we don't actually catch the cold because we took care of the symptoms, no matter how small they were, when they were just peeking their head out. But if we don't listen and we force ourselves to do things, maybe the next day we wake up and we're really sick. We didn't listen, and now we have to be in bed and we're being forced to do the things that we were being asked to do the day before. This is just one example, but this is what our angels want us to start understanding, and to just really begin working with all of those aspects of ourselves here on earth. It's no longer just about doing the things that are self-care. It's about being the self-care. It's about truly being the example of what it means to love yourself. Because when we can get that down, truly, we can love another person. If we have not been taking care of ourselves, all of the love we've been putting out into the world has been distorted. So as the lovers of the world, we are being asked to really bring that love home, bring it right here, so that we can then spread it in a way that is pure and true throughout the world. The body is your vehicle in this lifetime. Your body functions differently than my body, functions differently than the next person's body. We all have the places that need a little bit more attention. But the angels want us to realize it's like the house of your soul. It's like the car, the vehicle that gets you around and helps you navigate this planet and all that it has to offer. And even to kind of anchor you here so that you can go navigate other places. And if your car, the physical car that you drive to get from point A to point B, if that car started to rattle, you would take it to the mechanic because you know something's wrong. But when our bodies do the same thing, we don't pause and take care of that. We just assume the rattle will go away. And this is what our angels want us to start addressing, is to say, okay, these messages need to be addressed. Something is going wrong. You need to take care. Because these messages are coming so much faster, our angels and our divine team want us to understand that it's really important to let these things wash through you. There is a temptation to sit with a notepad and take notes about everything that's coming in. The problem is that when we do that, we shift from that receiving place. We shift from the frequency of being connected out of that into a more linear way of thinking, into the mind, into the brain. And then we shift back, and it's not so easy to get the same level of clarity, and we start to kind of distort that. So the angels want us, when we're in receiving mode, to remain there and to let the things that we're receiving come in, because they're saying that truth will start to come rapid fire. We'll start to understand more in a very rapid way. And they want us to not hold it with such a tight fist. They want us to allow it to wash through us like water. Because what is needed from that information will be pulled by ourselves, will be pulled by that part of us that knows what is for us. And we'll find ourselves just knowing. And they want to assure us of this so that we can stay in that place of being the empty vessels, being the channels that are just bringing those messages in and through. Don't attach to them. Let them move, let them breathe, let them be free, because you'll get exactly what you need. And if there is more that's needed from a particular message at any point in time, you'll get it again, or it's been integrated to such a degree where it will continually be integrated as needed. The angels don't want us to freak out. They're like, okay, we'll keep sending the same message if you don't catch it the first time. And if it is something you do need to write down, you'll receive the message when you're sitting there with your journal. Just know that we're working more in partnership with our angelic team, with our divine team, with our higher self now than we have been before. The needs of the world are changing very, very rapidly. Whereas in the past, we might have seen this kind of change over the course of 100 years or 50 years. When you look at the evolution of humanity from the time of Elvis Presley, say, until now, that short period of time is long compared to what has happened in the last few years. We have been through lifetimes on lifetimes on lifetimes in the last couple of years. Evolution is happening so quickly. So the fact that we are on the front lines, so to speak, in terms of this moment-to-moment paradigm, living from a place of being inspired to show up the way we're needed, of being inspired to take care of ourselves in the way that we're needed to take care of ourselves, showing people how to navigate these waters that none of us have been in before. Since we find ourselves in this place, it's important for us to be a little bit open to how our life purpose will be shifting, will be changing. It might not be a 180-degree change, but it might be. And it might just shift by like 2 or 3 degrees. But the angels want us to be open to those kinds of inspiration, those kinds of shifts and detours, so that we don't have to feel like we're swimming upstream. We don't have to feel like we're continuously climbing the mountain because we didn't listen to those inspirations. We're not noticing what's right in front of us. This is a time where we'll be called to shift with what's needed. That doesn't mean that what we desire doesn't factor in. It will, of course, be tied to what we're good at, what we love doing, but we might just need to tweak it based on who or what is in front of us, who or what we are needed to address. One of the things that can be very helpful is to start the day by asking what is needed of us. First, like we talked about before, checking in with our system, our personal system. Okay, what is needed today? And getting that message, finding out what your body, your mind, your spirit need today. Then asking the bigger question, what is needed of me today? In terms of how do you need me to show up in the world? How am I needed to show up in the world? And you can put these questions into whatever framework works for you, your religion, your spirituality, the deities you resonate with, the angels, whatever it is that is your place of feeling at home. Absolutely fit these into that framework. But when we begin the day with this openness, with this two-way communication with our own system and with the universe, it sets us up to be able to receive the messages. It's like charging your phone. If your battery is dead on your phone, you can't receive any messages. So if you start the day by charging your phone, then you can receive the messages that are being sent. Not only each day, but in the moment as you are addressing these things. When we find out the ways that we are out of balance on any particular day, and we take the time to listen to what is needed to rebalance ourselves, as we navigate the rest of our day, we will understand those that we come in contact with, because chances are they are also out of balance in very similar ways to the way that we woke up feeling out of balance. And so when we can recognize that we are attracting those like us who are on the same path as us, just maybe we're just like a step, 2 steps ahead, because we address that imbalance in the morning by listening in. We can then have better conversations. We may even be able to help somebody who doesn't recognize necessarily where they are today. And sometimes it's just even by listening or by sharing with them or by understanding where they are. This is key to us walking this earth more in balance, because when we can recognize this, we can come from the heart. We can come from that place of compassion that sees and recognizes how that person is our mirror, and we can then recognize how we are being asked to be a mirror to them. This balance, or this attempt at balance, helps us to take things much less personally, to be less attached, to be more even in our interactions. Remember, nobody has the power to put us where we don't want to be. For example, nobody has the power to goad us into an argument. That's an active choice on our part to enter that argument. And that's a lot easier to do in an unconscious way when we don't take the time to check in to see what it is that needs rebalancing in our system. The angels just want to remind us that what we focus on becomes our prayer. So if we're constantly focusing on the things that we fear, the things we don't want to happen, the things that we view as problems or as needing resolution in the world and in our lives, then we're actually putting energy into those things. We're praying for them in terms of giving them power. This doesn't mean that we need to ignore them. This means absolutely these are things that need to be addressed. These are things that we may be part of the solution for. So by focusing on them and then opening ourselves to what is the opposite energy, what is it that would remedy this situation? To start opening ourselves to guidance in terms of how can we create something different. And also realizing that energies are very often not necessarily the opposite. Love and fear aren't necessarily opposites, even though they are the only 2 energies that exist at the end of the day. What we'll find is that when we have the power to sit with the fear, to speak with it, to show it that we see it, to ask it what messages it has to bring for us, why it's here, what it's here to show us, that's very often when we start the creative process of coming up with solutions. And always, 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 love is like a tiny, 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 tiny bit behind that fear. We will always get to love if we move through the fear. When we move through the fear that might be this big, we move into the love, which is infinite. And the angels really want us to understand that and to start playing with that in our own lives, to start incorporating that so that we can open ourselves to the creative solutions that are asking to be birthed through us, especially this month when things start moving so much faster. The angels are also acknowledging that for so long when we heard energy is going to be moving faster, we freaked out because it means we have so much more work to do. We have to be ready for something, and the angels now want us to understand that this is what we've been doing all of this work for. This is why we've been through what we've been through, so that we can be less attached. We can take things less personally. We're not coming to things through the same wounds that we were 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 minutes ago, because we're continuously paying attention. We're continuously bringing awareness to these situations. We're continuously sitting with the fear, sitting with the feelings, but not focused on them, not giving our attention to them in the way of creating them. When we ignore fear, when we ignore messages, then we end up just giving more and more attention to them as they come up and keep coming back around because we didn't deal with them in the first place. It ends up just taking so much more of our energy and cycling over and over again. Whereas if we just address them and sit through them and be with them, knowing that we want to get to the love that's on the other side, knowing that by seeing what's present for us, we can come up with creative solutions, then we will truly, truly, truly be the vessels and the channels of peace, of wisdom, and of light that we are here to be. That feels really complete from our angels for this month. If you would like more assistance harmonizing your physical experience with the highly spiritual work that you are here to do, please consider joining us for the Healing into the New You 3-part series happening in August. Link to information on this series can be found in the description of this video or in the comments section below. I look so forward to supporting you in this series through these videos and in all of the other ways we could potentially do work together. Thank you as always for being part of this community, for sharing these videos out far and wide with those who could really use these messages. After all, the angels' messages are only truly messages if people are hearing them and are listening. Leave us a comment and let us know what resonated for you in this video. I look so forward to connecting with you again soon. Bye everyone.